Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
John Emmett.
Matt Hagen.
And here on the show, we like to open up with Deja Fuse, where we talk about old subject matter. And I got one for you guys. I don't know if you guys have any.
Not me.
I really haven't thought about it too much. Go ahead, Vince.
Good. Okay, because it's really kind of about the two of you. So previously,
no.
I was talking about how-to videos, and I was like, it's cool that I did this by myself, but I feel like I'm taking jobs away from people. And both of you guys were like, who gives a fuck? Fuck them, And I was like, is this a case of white collar versus blue collar? Because the two of you are both programmers.
No, I have nothing against blue collar people. I love blue collar people. I'm gonna pull a Donald Trump. They're my favorite people. I love the uneducated. No, I have a lot of blue collar friends. I have nothing against blue collar people. I don't know what
some of my best friends are blue collars.
Some of my best friends employ blue collar people.
No.
Okay, and then in follow up of that, what happens now when a bunch of how-to program videos start popping up? Are you guys going to start feeling bad then?
No.
I'm just waiting for Chat GPT or whatever to take my job.
I've heard about this. Is somebody going to bring that up in the discussion tonight? I will find out. But no, like there is a serious lack of blue collar people. If my kids want to get into plumbing or want to be an electrician or something, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, that's a great trade. So, programming, there's a ton of stuff already out there trying to teach people programming, and it's already it's a whole can of worms. It's already opened up. But no, that's totally fine. Like programming is so much more than just typing out code and programming. I mean, it's problem solving. It's logic and problem solving, and people. There's not enough people in this world that know how to problem solve.
Every 2 years, the programming language is like deprecated, and you have to learn something completely new, especially if you're like a front-end programmer.
There's some truth to that. I haven't run into that too much, but I'm kind
of... What is your language that you work with?
I'm probably embarrassed to say because I'll probably get a bunch of hate. I'm kind of in this little corner of the world. I work in PHP. Well, I'm full stack, so MySQL and PHP, and then you get the JavaScript, CSS, HTML junk. But I mean, that stuff really doesn't change a whole lot. I mean, oh boy, we're in a whole programming discussion.
Yeah.
So I mean, JavaScript, there's always new frameworks to learn. There's constantly
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but
I'm sure there's plenty of breakthroughs in plumbing every fucking day, man. You don't know.
Oh yeah, the hex piping or whatever, the flexible stuff. The one day feels like just yesterday we were putting lead pipes everywhere, and then it was copper for a while, and now this plastic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've got a deja vu, I guess. So found myself at Subway recently, and it's really embarrassing. Not okay. Subway's not embarrassing. Okay, let me start over. So,
oh man, it's like some blue collar food right there.
All right. So I'm ordering my sandwich. I'm getting to the vegetable area, and it's really embarrassing to say, can I have a lot of spinach? And then they put like 10 leaves of spinach on, and then I have to go, can I have like 6 times that amount of spinach? Can you just empty the entire thing of spinach on there? And then even after they do that, it's really usually still not enough. But that's just kind of an embarrassing moment at Subway that I run into whenever I end up there.
There's a great quote from the television show Parks and Recreation, similar to something like that, where Ron Swanson says, like, give me all your eggs and bacon. And he's like, what you just heard was, I want a lot of eggs and bacon, but yeah.
Exactly. Well, with that
Segue.
perfect transition. All right, I'm starting tonight. All right, so I'm going to start with my love. My love is Parks and Recreation. I wanted to throw it out there before someone else threw it out there, but to be honest with you, I've never talked with you guys about Parks and Rec. So I don't know if you guys do love Parks and Rec, so we're going to find out. But I love the ensemble cast. I love the general good vibes of the show. I mean, everyone in that office is friendly toward one another and supportive, and it shows. I love the writing. Whoever did the casting is incredible, because you're finding Nick Offerman before he becomes Nick Offerman, Aubrey Plaza, Aziz Ansari, Chris Pratt, finding Adam Scott and Benny Schwartz long before he was Sonic the fucking Hedgehog, you know.
The elegant Mr. S.
Elegant Mr. S. All the main characters in Parks and Rec are fleshed out and real. And there's so much pop culture that's come from the show, you know. Lil Sebastian and Ben's indifference toward Lil Sebastian. Treat Yourself, DJ Roomba. Money, please. All the eggs and bacon, as John mentioned. Burt Macklin, Duke Silver, Snake Juice. Ben's love for calzones. And you know, there's incredible minor supporting characters too. You know, the town hall meetings are always awesome. You heard with Purd. I love Parks and Rec. I mean, it's hilarious and it's heartfelt, and I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Love it. I definitely started watching it and then didn't like it at first, and then went back to it later, because like the first season felt like, oh, they're just trying to do The Office. Like in the first season there was a lot more just like kind of cringe comedy to it, and I was like, oh well, this is kind of like The Office but not as good. But then kind of when it came into its own, as they say, it became much better, and probably like it more than The Office at this point. But it really became a different kind of show at that point for the reasons that you mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. I think that first season is subpar too. And you know, that's kind of a thing that's out there. Like there's so much good TV out there right now. Why should I have to put up with one lousy season? I'm just going to move on to the next show, you know. But really truly, like, the first season isn't great. And then the second season gets so much better, and then it really hits its stride in the third season. But it's worth it, people. It's worth it. I don't know. What do you think, Vince?
What was that board game Adam Scott came up with? The Cones of
Cones of Dunshire. Yeah.
Yes. But you forgot about the essence. The cones. Oh, so good. I haven't seen the whole show, and I wasn't into the idea. I might have skipped the whole first season because I wasn't that into The Office. It's good. There's some really good stuff there, but I wasn't into it. And then I was like, we're going to follow Rashida Jones. One of the most boring actresses there is just her, you know?
Well, is that really a crossover? I don't think that's really a crossover going on. Not at all, right? But it's like just Rashida Jones just on two different shows, right?
Well, no,
I mean, she certainly doesn't play the same character or anything like that.
Oh, well, could have fooled me. Boring. Both were boring. I don't know.
Oh, well, sure, but you know, one of them was like a paper salesperson and the other one's a nurse. So, I mean, I can't think of anything more different than those two occupations.
And they eventually kick her out, right? Doesn't Rashida leave?
The Office or the
Rec?
Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
She leaves the same season as Rob Lowe leaves, which I think was maybe the second to last season, but that they just ended up leaving the show. They didn't like get kicked off. I don't know where you're going with this question, Vince.
They got kicked out of Pawnee.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, that was the 1 week spot where I'm like, Rashida Jones. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, she's like a non-pulse, you know?
Well, I think she's a good straight character to all the zaniness of all the other characters. I think she's got a good relationship Leslie Knope and a bunch of other characters on there. So I think it's just straight man.
Yeah, but
What do you think of her in Freaks and Geeks, Vince?
She was in that.
I don't remember
Yeah.
her in Freaks and Geeks.
Who?
Like an episode or two. She was like a bully, I think.
Yes, I do remember.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe. Wow. All right. But no, I mean, okay, but the show again, she left. The show didn't need a straight character. That was what was so cool about that show. Like every character. The only other weakness, again, I don't know why I'm doing this, but you guys were like, "Oh my god, it's great." It's kind of lame. Who is it, Kevin, that they pick on?
Jerry.
What is
Jerry?
his name? Gary,
Yeah, Jerry.
Larry.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's kind of been done with Meg on Family Guy. You know what I mean? Just like people just hate this person. You don't even see why, but they hate them and stuff. I don't know.
Well, I think Gary gets redeemed though. Like he's got a great life outside of
Because
the office,
because his hot wife.
He's got Christy Brinkley and he's got his daughters and he's got his painting. He's got so much outside of his office.
Right.
But even still, he gets redeemed throughout the show. I mean, Meg from Family Guy, is there ever any love for Meg from any of the other family members? Any sincere moments? I don't remember, but there are sincere moments for Gary, Larry, Jerry.
But no, outside of that, Rob Lowe again. He was funny. I liked him. I liked that character.
Stop pooping. Yes. I've been listening to the Parks and Rec podcast too, which I forget what it's called now, but I've been listening to that too. That is a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of the show, listen to that. There's so many podcasts out there now. Sometimes they just get lost in the shuffle. So I recommend that to anybody out there too.
All right. Next. John, you got anything?
Yeah, I got a few things today. I guess I'll go.
Parks and Recollections, the name of that podcast. Sorry, John. I just wanted to. While I was thinking of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's clever. I'll go right into my love, which is the album LW by the band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Before I go into it, had either of you listened to them at all ever?
No.
Only for this podcast.
Okay. Yeah, so they're kind of like a psychedelic garage kind of band from Australia. They're super prolific. They'll release like 3 studio albums a year, basically. Like they've only been around since like 2011 or something, I think. And they have like 24 albums. The album I picked for this is I flip-flop between there being 2 albums that I'm not sure which one is my favorite, but LW is maybe more interesting to talk about because it's their third in series of experimentation in microtonal music, which is basically like in some forms of Eastern music, they have more notes per octave than in Western music. So like there'll be notes in between the notes kind of that we just don't use in our music usually. So the guy built like a custom guitar with more frets in it so he'd be able to play like the microtonal sounds and everything. And I think this album is like the best that they've taken advantage of that. And I just love the songs. Like they've got that weird psychedelic sound to them, but they're still kind of rocking. And I don't know. I've listened to that album a ton of times. I've listened to a bunch of their stuff in general over the last couple of years, but that one definitely sticks out to me.
The microtonal. Yeah, I mean that's what's I didn't know that's what it was called, but they sounded Middle Eastern or something. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Mediterranean. It just
Yeah.
sounded something very different, and they really stuck through that throughout the whole album. I really responded to that. That was interesting. Yeah, and it was
What
just
is that?
very.
It's like some sort of sitar or something, right? Or maybe there's
Yeah,
different things
exactly.
making it.
So that's the kind of sound a sitar would make, but he built like a custom guitar that's able to make those kind of sounds, basically.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, the what was it, the outro, that gigantic thing that happens at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. But like the whole album really kind of picks you up and takes you on a ride. It was something else. And I was barely paying attention to it. I think I was trying to write or something, and I just put it on in the background, and eventually I just had to like look up and like, what the fuck what's going on? It's awesome. Yeah, liked it.
Yeah, I ended up listening to it twice. I liked it quite a bit. It was kind of one of those things I put on while I was working, so I wasn't paying as much attention as I really would have liked to. But actually, I had it going on YouTube, and then at some point, I looked at YouTube and I realized the first album ended, and all of a sudden, Polygon to Wannaland or
Oh yeah, that
whatever
one's
that
great
album.
too.
But these guys seriously put out 3 albums a year. It's nuts. It's nuts. But one thing I found funny was I looked them up on Wikipedia, and one of the band members is Joey Walker, and the list of instruments he plays: guitar, vocal, synthesizer, bass guitar, percussion, electron digicact, MRI machine, hydraulic hammer, drawbridge, chainsaw, nail gun, and angle grinder. So I don't know how much of that I caught on that album, but that made me chuckle. Loved it. Yeah, I love the soundscape. They are original. They're funky. They got that prog rock thing going on without going to the excesses of some prog rock. And I liked it. I'm sure I will check out some of the other albums. So nice recommendation, John.
How many
Thank you.
members are in that band? Do you know? A
I
bunch?
don't know. Yeah, like more than 6, I want to say.
Okay, yeah, because it sounds like a big band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I bet they have people probably coming and going for different albums, it seems like. And
Yeah. Very good. I'm trying to just think of like bands with like a lot of members that I listen to, and not much really.
I don't know. I would have to put more thought into that. Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. I think they have a ton of band members. Maybe nobody else knows that band, but they're kind of
oh yeah, I've listened to them.
They're kind of a strange one. They got a lot of different stuff going.
Arcade
Fire. They got a bunch of band members. Yeah.
I listened to some songs of theirs. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but why not? Oh, so the Gizzard Wizard in the Lizard Blizzard. Good stuff, John.
One of my buddies made the joke, like, it's amazing that King Gizzard was able to meet up with the Lizard Wizard.
That's awesome. Next. Oh, I think it's me.
Yes.
So let's address the future. Let's address the future that happened last episode. I gave you guys some hints. Edgar Rice Burroughs and Fire and Ice. I actually said Ice and Fire last episode. I meant Fire and Ice. But yeah, any ideas? That is my love.
You go first, Matt.
I have put no thought into this. It sounds like Game of Thrones, Fire and Ice, right?
No, this is long before Game of Thrones, by the way.
Oh. John?
Is he the guy who wrote Naked Lunch?
I don't believe this man's written anything. Or the person that I'm talking about. It's a man. All right, so you give up?
Sure do.
Look behind me, and you will see many of his work. That is from the artist Frank Frazetta.
Oh, it was all right in front of us this whole time, Matt.
I grew up in with a mother as an artist, so she had all these books lying about and some of her own artwork on the walls and stuff. But yeah, this was one of the great books that she had that I would go through and look at all this stuff, and it's pretty radical shit. Like even when I was young, I was like, I don't know if I should be seeing these boobies and stuff like that. But is a very I don't know, I would just get lost in all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, what you're seeing there is like, very muscular details and fantasy epics. And he would do the covers for like Edgar Rice Burroughs and stuff like that. And I think the cover for Fire and Ice, but then the animation would not look anything like that. It was kind of like rotoscoped or something like that. But if we had the technology to put this art and turn that into an animation, holy shit, that'd be great. But yeah, Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this artist, but just that last thing you said reminded me. I went to at the Minneapolis Institute of Art a few years ago. They had Guillermo del Toro's Movie Monster exhibit and had a bunch of that stuff. But one of the things, they had this artist, I don't even know how to say his name, like Ivan Earl, and he does like these really cool surreal landscapes and stuff. And I learned he did like all the backgrounds for Sleeping Beauty, I think it was. So like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch that movie again. And then it's kind of funny because like all the backgrounds are these like super intricate, beautiful like landscapes, but then like all the characters are like these, like very simple, very minimal, like so yeah, like, and obviously it makes sense why, because you have to draw one thing once and you have to draw the other thing for every single frame. But yeah, that'll be cool when we get to the point where you can easily like digitally create more of these detailed animations.
Matt, you got anything to add?
It's really rad. I can add that. Yeah, it's it looks like it would be, something out of Paradise Lost or something. It's very epic, very kind of biblical. I like it. It seems maybe kind of washed out, maybe not as vibrant as stuff I would prefer, for the subject material. But yeah, I like it. So your mom had a bunch of this, or she had books like this, and you were kind of drawn to that, or was she telling you about this stuff as you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, they were just around. I don't know how to describe it, but just art books. Same with Dr. Seuss, there was just like books all the time. And yeah, this was just one of her favorites. But yeah, there's a lot of books of other artists and stuff, but I was always drawn to this. I was always like, this is some cool shit. Lots of great. What was it? Savage Pelisador. He drew the cover for that. That's very similar to this. Like where he, it kind of seems like a man and dinosaurs existed at the same time. It's it's so good. It's the closest thing that I might say I prefer over heavy metal. That magazine. I don't know if you guys remember that sort of stuff.
I never got into heavy metal, never watched the movie or read anything about it, but I am aware of the animation style, yes. It feels like I've seen what we're looking at here to some degree in an animated movie of some kind, but I don't know that I can put my finger on it, but it's pretty rare, but I feel like something exists kind of like this. I'll have to look into it.
There is this really bizarre Adult Swim show called Tig Tog or something like that, where they take kind of detailed animation and then they put these motion capture things so it looks like the painting's moving its lips. Maybe we could do that with Frank Frazetta.
Mhm.
We
always count on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim for pushing animation for sure.
yeah.
I think this podcast might get banned from YouTube. I think I'm seeing some nipples on some of these women, so gonna have to watch
really?
for that.
I don't think so. I don't. Oh, I
I
guess
don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so I've been looking at my phone trying to find something. The one in the middle above your head,
Yeah.
there's this OC's album called Face Stabber, and it's literally taken from this picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the orc
The
guy doing this thing.
oh shit. Okay, so did they just kind of redo it with some other character, or is it like
No,
basically
it's
that
like
thing?
it's like a crop of that image basically,
Oh,
except it's
sweet.
like bright green on the album.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I am not an artist. All my stuff, all my drawings are just cartoons. I can't advance. And I don't know too much about art, really. I mean, I've asked her about some stuff, but I have never really got into it too much. But I don't know how to describe the strokes and the light and all that stuff. I just know that it looks damn good.
Well,
And I like good looking things.
Yeah. I mean, I describe it as epic and biblical. I think those are two good words for it all, because that's the kind of vibe I get from it.
Take your religion out of here. I don't see that.
No, let's talk more. Have you guys found Jesus yet? All right, we ready to move on? Should I go? I'll go. Hey, I'm going to bring up an indifference. Cruises. Going on cruises. So Amy wants to go on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise.
You're on a mission with this one.
I don't know if I like the idea of a cruise. I kind of like the idea. I mean, vacations, I like relaxing. And apparently you just go on cruises and you can gorge yourself with food and drink all you want. And it's a lot of just kind of laying around. So maybe my laziness is kind of into that. But have you guys been on cruises? Do you like cruises?
Never been on one, nor do I want to.
Yeah, same.
So you're all just like, I want nothing to do with a cruise. Are there reasons? Do you
Speed
have some
2.
sort of Speed 2? What was the premise to speed? Like they were going to run into a glacier or something?
That was Titanic.
Oh, no. Wasn't there like what was the purpose of Speed 2? I never.
It wasn't even fast. That movie's so bad. I don't even remember. William Dafoe was trying to take something off the boat, but they eventually crash into a harbor town at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so bad. But cruises, no. And when the pandemic happened, remember those people were stuck on that cruise remember that?
I think that happened multiple times with cruise ships.
Yeah.
I mean, the risk of that sort of thing happening is much lower today, but it's not out of the ordinary. What about pirates, man? I mean, what?
Right? I mean, yeah, that would be a plus.
I've always wanted to meet a pirate.
The fossil fuel burning required to move those things is insane.
What? It's not a bunch of rowers? Damn it. What about also the movie? Oh, the movie Deep Rising. Just got to throw it out there. I don't know if you've ever seen that
one.
Oh shit! It's on the list for movie recollection.
Oh,
hopefully it pops.
Let's not talk about that. That's a different podcast. Well, what about the idea of what about the gluttonous idea of just getting on a ship and eating all the food and drinking all the alcohol and that sort of thing? Is that something you guys like to do on vacation, or is that unappealing?
It's still on a boat. See, I've been on a boat, but not like a cruise ship. But I remember feeling I never got seasick, but it was kind of like, oh man, if I had to be on that boat for any longer, going like this all the time. But I imagine it's more smoother on a cruise ship.
I think so. I don't know for sure though.
Yeah, and I don't like shrimp. Sorry. They serve a lot there, right? I would not eat any of that shrimp or lobster.
Yeah, I'm pulling the vegan card again. Like I don't imagine the buffets and everything they have would be catered towards someone like myself.
Okay. So we got a couple indifference bordering on hate, but don't really know enough from you guys. So that's good enough for me.
I mean, my parents have gone on a couple and they loved them. They just did an Alaskan cruise this summer. They thought it was great.
So wait, Matt, when are you supposed to do this?
Nothing's really planned right now. Amy's just kind of talking like, well, what should we do for our next vacation type of thing. So
okay. But it sounds like she might get her way because you brought it up where you're like, damn it, this might happen.
Well, she always gets her way on this sort of thing. I mean, I can give opinions and I can be like, no, for once in my life, I want to have my, but she always gets her way.
What about the kids?
Well, she'll talk the kids into it, and the kids will be on.
So this would be a family thing.
It would be a family thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of cruise ships apparently they have like sort of daycare setups where you can, I mean, you're with the kids most of the time, but if you want to go out at night, just some other random part of the ship, you can bring the kids to the daycare thing and go do your things. So, I mean, maybe that's kind of a plus where spend some time with the kids, but you can get rid of them at a certain point. So,
you could do the Titanic King of the World thing. So that's a plus.
I wonder if they wouldn't let you do that. Oh, I mean, they would let you do that from, not from the point of Titanic. You'd have to do it further back, but yeah, maybe. I'm still indifferent. Okay.
How about you try and convince her to do something else, like a hot air balloon or something?
A multi-day hot air balloon trip?
Or like a city bus.
Actually, you know what? How about this? And it's way more expensive, but a bus, yes, but a double-decker bus in Britain, British.
Yeah.
Hang out with the hooligans.
And the Who.
Yes, well, we could talk about vacations we would like to go on some other day, but for today it's just cruise ships, and I am still indifferent. Next,
Jarn.
All right, I'll do my hate, which like when I presented it to you both, it was as I hate clearly misattributed quotes, but really it's specifically the one that I mentioned that where people say, Einstein said the definition of insanity is to repeatedly do the same thing and expect different results. And it's like so clearly not a thing Einstein would say. And I've seen it in like professional presentations and stuff. Like I've been at a conference and someone has like a slide that says that. It's so easy to like verify if that was something he said or not. I looked it up and it's apparently something that came out of like Narcotics Anonymous in the 70s or something. But like I also just don't like the message behind it. Like people do the same thing over and over again. It's called like learning a skill or practicing, and you get better at it. Like, what do you mean you shouldn't try the same thing over and over again? Like, I mean, I get it. Like, okay, at some point, some things just don't work, and you shouldn't keep doing them. But like, I just think it's a stupid quote. I think it's stupid that people think Einstein said it, and I just don't need to hear it anymore.
So you've really narrowed this down to just
that.
Okay.
Like it was really just an excuse to talk about that specific one. Other ones bother me way less. I know they say like Mark Twain said everything and half of the quotes weren't him and all that stuff, but
I'm not really sure if can you repeat that quote again? Maybe I'll get it again.
Do it a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe if I do it one more time, Vince will actually listen.
Oh man. Well, okay. For someone who's met the insane, they do repeat themselves a lot. So
also, the idea that that's the definition of insanity
yeah.
is like also stupid. Like, no, I'm pretty sure that there's more to it than that.
Okay, well, there's another quote because I thought you were saying just in general, and you just gave us an example. But I was like, okay, there was that one where it's like uh anger is like taking a poison and hoping that the next guy will die or something like that. You ever hear about that? And they're like, no?
No,
I don't think I know.
People are always like, Buddha said that.
Buddha.
He did not.
I enjoy obviously fake quotes that are attributed to someone that it's obviously not. Like I like me myself, I'm careful. Like I will occasionally quote someone, but if I don't really know who the quote is from, I'll say something like I think or maybe, or I'll just say it without actually confidently saying I'm quoting somebody. Is it more the confidence, like the just the confidence that I know this quote is from this person, and just the way you said the quote, it's like I mean, I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know. Honestly, it was way more just the specific one. Because even in like conversation, like I wouldn't care if someone said like, oh yeah, didn't Einstein say that the definition blah blah blah? I'm like, oh no, whatever. But like it's like seeing that shit used in like professional settings where like, okay, you should like know if you're gonna use that as like the opening to your presentation, maybe take 3 seconds and Google if it's accurate or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's but also, John, but real quick, John, you said you see this all the time, but what happens? Yes. But what happens, say 5 years from now, you see it again and you're like, you know what? I like that quote. Or I agree with that, you know.
This is growing on me.
Matt,
it's like it's common knowledge. People don't really even feel the need to look something up anymore. But I was trying to think of quotes that I do, and anytime I'm really quoting somebody, I'm just trying to be funny. I think it's fun to bust out, to quote the Black Eyed Peas, tonight's gonna be a good night, or something stupid like that. But I guess it doesn't like, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say that exact quote out loud, or that I remember hearing that, or if I've heard it, I don't know that I've heard it attributed to Einstein. So I'm indifferent to all this.
All right.
One other thing though, on Facebook, I don't know if you guys are on Facebook anymore, but I still am. And a lot of people post quotes that it's almost always the same. It's typically some black dude with tattoos in black and white. He looks like a hip hop guy, but he's looking down, right? He's not looking at you, he's looking down. And it's like, you know, I don't have a lot of friends because the world's fucked me over or something like that. You know, it's always just like this weird fucking quote associated with like the same guy, but I don't think he's ever said it. I think people just, you know, look for I don't know if you guys come across like memes and
like that. Well, that's kind of like what we were talking about with deep fakes and stuff. It's like you can literally just take a picture of a person and put words over them, and then like, you know, most people will believe that that person said that thing.
All right, well, moving on. I think I could do my hate. I hate the series finale of ALF. I wasn't able to do the research. They were like the last, you know, few minutes of ALF, the finale. So I rewatched that, and it's just as bad as I remember. Like I think it happened in 1990, so I was about 6 years old, and my mom and dad are like staying up late because it's like, oh, it's ALF, you know, it's the ending, and I believe we were all told that. So I'm like, hey, I want to stay up and watch ALF. You know, I'm just like this little kid. But what happens is, or you know, ALF, he's gonna leave Earth finally. He's gonna, you know, the mothership's gonna show up and pick him up, and then the government, they're onto him and stuff, right? So at the very end, Elf is cracking wise like he always does. There's a couple of good jokes there and stuff. And I remember the family and all that stuff. But they're like, okay, they're all having a teary goodbye. And then the government are closing in. Then the spaceship shows up. But then they get scared off because the government, they just take off the spaceship. And the family's like, oh my God, we got to protect ourselves. There's government. Government shows up. They circle around Elf, and Elf is being played by like, a small person in a little suit that always had the uncanny valley, So right then I'm like, why does Elf look so weird, And then they're like, well, Elf, we're gonna fucking, trap you and test you now, and that's the end of it. And it just ended, and I cried so badly. I was so shook by this. My dad's like, get him out of here. And I'm like, no. My mom drags me into my bedroom and she's like, just calm down. It's just a show or whatever. But yeah, I hate the series finale of Elf.
Is it just because it seemed like a traumatic thing for a 6-year-old? Is that why you hate it? Is that the number one thing?
Yeah, I'm doing this for 6-year-old Vince, man. He needs this comeuppance or something.
Well,
yeah.
So you saw it again. So you hadn't seen it since you were 6 and you just saw it recently, right?
Yeah, for the research.
for the research. So you just dug down deep and you just like that Elf. I need to talk about that. And yes, it is free on YouTube. If anyone wants to check it out, don't check it out. It's bad. It's
wait. The show's bad or the finale's bad?
I don't really remember the show. I think I remember seeing it occasionally, but yeah, I was 5 years old or whatever, so I really don't remember anything about it.
I remember thinking Elf is finally going to get what's coming to him.
He was kind of an asshole. That is true.
But I mean, let's see. I mean, the ending seemed kind of random, so it feels abrupt. Like every episode before was maybe doing its own sitcom-y thing, and then all of a sudden things escalated to that final episode where it just oh boy, I got a signal or I got a message from the spaceship. Now we're going to go in this other direction. It's almost like they were doing their normal thing, and then all of a sudden they kind of realized they were going to get canceled, and then they kind of wanted to put a cliffhanger on there to try to get another season. I don't know.
Well, okay, let's walk through the episode. So, it starts out and Elf is, he's on the radio and he's trying to contact Australia because in Australia it's tomorrow. So they're going to give him the winners of the horse races and he can go to the track and bet on them. That was a pretty good bit.
Really good family wholesomeness. Yes.
Because I also watched this for the research and I'm like, what's going to be so bad about this? And like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny. Like, I don't know. Like, then it gets to the end and I'm like, oh, I get it. So I looked it up and yeah, obviously they thought they were coming back for the next season, or were trying to at least. Apparently out there is a made for TV movie that sums things up that I did not seek out yet.
Were you a fan of Elf? I mean, back in the day, or no?
I remember my parents watching it sometimes. I definitely have seen a few episodes of it. I didn't remember much from it.
Okay. The other reason why that I remember this so much is because, like I said, my dad was like, get him out of here. And I remember thinking, I'm like, dude, you're my stepdad. You've only been around here for like, and you're telling me to go. Me and my dad, we butted heads and we never really saw eye to eye. But I do remember this was one of the earliest moments where I'm like, hey man, Elf is dead, and he's like, get out of here.
He wasn't dead. Did you think he was dead as a 6-year-old?
What were they gonna do? They were gonna test him. They were gonna fucking probably kill him, and
it's a sitcom. They're not gonna kill him.
Tell 6-year-olds
the show is called Elf. They're not gonna kill Elf.
Yeah, but we never saw. There was never a conclusion. I didn't know about the movie, the TV movie.
Well, apparently that was like 6 years later, and like none of the original cast were back. It was just,
really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the whole idea was the show was going to kind of shift to like a laboratory where Elf was going to be kept, and then he would continue with his
just like Elf
healthy
palling
hygiene
around with the government scientists.
And then I'm sure like the family would be trying to, you know, figure out where he went and trying to find him and that sort of thing. But I guess that's where the TV movie went as well, was that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure my mom said all of that. You know, as soon as she pulled me out of the living room and into my bedroom, I'm pretty sure she sat me down. She's like, "It's just a show. It's a fucking show, Vince." You know,
dropping the hard F-bombs.
All right. Well, anyone have anything to add to that?
No.
Does anyone have a traumatic moment in their childhood from a show or a movie where you were so upset?
No, but listen. Did you watch the show Last Man on Earth?
Yes.
That
Good
ended
pull.
the same way.
What?
So yes.
I mean, almost like so many like similarities to how it ended.
Oh shit.
I immediately thought of that with the cliffhanger, and then I did some Googling to see other shows that ended on cliffhangers, and there's a hell of a lot of them out there. But the only one that stood out to me was Last Man on Earth. Will Forte, really good show, and it takes this big leap right at the end of whatever season that was, 3 or whatever, and then they didn't get renewed, so you're just left with this I don't know, this kind of craziness right at the end. And
and where's their made for TV movie?
Hopefully it's coming soon.
All right, well then you have to understand, you were kind of like, what is this? But make yourself 6, and you're just like, what's gonna happen to the last man on Earth? You know, like you gotta put yourself in those shoes. Because you know, I've seen E.T. by this point, and what happens? E.T. gets picked up, he goes home. That did not happen for Elf. Poor Elf. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Matt,
my turn. My turn? Is it my turn? Okay. I'm going to go. So I'm going to talk about how I hate Elon Musk. This is probably not some controversial thing, especially in this crowd. And it's taken me a few weeks to collect my thoughts because it seemed like there's new crap every day, a few new things every single week. But I think there's a lot of Elon Musk truthers out there. We live in strange times. And I also feel like I was an early skeptic of Elon Musk. You know, he burst into the mainstream with Tesla as this force of change, you know, pushing the auto industry forward into electric vehicles. But even back then, it takes 5 minutes of research, and all of a sudden it turns out Elon Musk is a product of rich, exploitative parents. He buys his way into innovative ideas in tech, including PayPal. And then SpaceX comes out, and people start to wonder a bit about what the hell is SpaceX all about. And ultimately, it turns out he's starting a space war with Jeff Bezos to see who can colonize some body in our solar system first. But that's a topic for a different day. And that's about the time when things start to go off the rails. Bold claims, conspiracy theories, and then all of a sudden he head scratchingly finds out that he mistakenly bought Twitter on a whim, and that's a whole thing. I don't understand any of that. That's a topic maybe for a different day. But in this day of age of ludicrous amounts of legal bullshit and red tape, Elon Musk finds himself trapped and seemingly tricked into buying Twitter. I don't understand that. But anyway, he takes over Twitter, and that's where his ineptitude and narcissism really starts to shine. Layoffs and public displays of tech stupidity and shitheadedness in general. I mean, what is the guy doing? And perhaps worst of all, for my personal taste, Dave Chappelle brings him on stage during a San Francisco show recently within the past couple weeks. Dave Chappelle would never associate with a guy like this, would he? Has Dave Chappelle changed? Is he not a man of the people? Damn Elon Musk for making me question my love for Dave Chappelle. That's the final straw. The world has never seen anything like this. The richest man in the world gets exposed for the fraud and fuck up that he is. I mean, it's kind of glorious and scary all at the same time. I don't know. He's got an unmatched eye for innovation, and a pocketbook to buy it. But I don't understand. And maybe the craziest thing of all is where he started from with Tesla. I mean, it's a giant step forward, the whole innovative idea, introducing the idea of energy change to the general public. And that's going to lead to more energy change, not necessarily electric vehicles itself, but just pushing things forward. But when it comes right down to it, Ford, GM, Toyota, all of them, they're going to eat Tesla's lunch. I know it. It's happening. It's going to happen. And all because Elon Musk will inevitably be too busy stroking his ego. Probably end up on multiple white nationalist podcasts alongside Kanye West, talking about which concentration camp was the most productive, or some flat earth BS, whatever. Does anyone out there still support this guy? What the hell is happening? Somebody tell me.
Did you hear about the Twitter account where he was tracking his jet? Musk's jet, right? And then he was like, hey, can you stop that or whatever? And the guy's like, sure, for 50 grand or a Tesla. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then he's talking about like how, oh, this is about freedom of speech. Just, you can do whatever you want. And then just the other day, he just shut that account down. I don't know. This is bizarre. I've never existed with a gigantic rich man kind of all over the place like this before. This is my first. I mean, as prolific, I don't know. I guess we could say Trump, but was he really that rich? I don't know.
No. But I mean, and it is fascinating though, too, how much money he's lost just based on Tesla shares plummeting and based on throwing money away on Twitter. I don't understand. Doesn't he have people that he confides in, that he talks to about this sort of stuff?
Jeeves.
Apparently not. Jeeves?
He needs a Jeeves. Yeah. What a crazy time to see this happening in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I never paid much attention to him, but he's been around for years, and like it always seemed like he'd do something really cool and then something really shitty, and then he'd do something cool again and then something shitty again. And like I never understood like the hero worship that a lot of people had for him, and I think some still have for him, unless it's all like bots and stuff. But I imagine there's a lot of real people who still believe in everything he says, and I don't necessarily understand that. Or really just any of the, the cult of personality type people that occupy the attention of a lot of people. The Twitter stuff is funny because in my industry, like all the info security people have moved from Twitter to like Mastodon, which is like an open source alternative to Twitter. And it was kind of annoying because the first couple of weeks they were just talking about, oh, this is so much better than Twitter, or like they would call it the bird site and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, well, who cares? Like, I just want to see your normal content if this is such a better place to do it. And surprisingly, like it is still going strong on the new location. Like I wasn't sure if everyone was going to go crawling back to the bird site or not, but yeah, I mean, just that alone is going to be interesting. What ends up happening with that in the long term? If it, like from those people, it's any day and the whole site will be shut down, which, I obviously don't think that's going to be the case, but I don't know, maybe other people are moving to other areas too. I don't know.
What does Mastodon have for tweets? Is it a tusk? We sent out a tusk.
They're toots.
Good stuff.
Vince, you're a genius. The tusk.
So in closing, what were we even talking about? Oh, Elon Musk. So, oh, you say he's a loony though, right? You said that he's got conspiracy theories and shit. And it's interesting that he was on Joe Rogan Experience. Does Joe Rogan like to promote a bunch of zany ideas? Oh my gosh, that's a hate.
Joe Rogan is on some list for me, so let's not go.
Yeah, me too.
But
clearly a hate for the both of us. No,
we'll see. We'll see.
okay, we'll see.
Well, go down those whole narcissism. Go down that narcissism road too. Like where the hell is all the narcissism coming from? All the truthers, all the lies, all the stupidity, all the non-free thinking that's going on in the world today. Is this going to get worse and worse and worse? Why do people believe in these rich assholes that would spit in your face if you got too close to them? I don't know. I don't get it.
Like a camel, man. Like a fucking camel. Moving on.
Very fluid, Vince. We're going for fluidity.
Like spit.
Perfect. Moving on.
All right, John, I think you're up, right?
All right. My indifferent is movie trailers.
That's it.
I never watch them because if I see a movie, it's because I want to see it, and like I don't want it spoiled or anything. And like I'll typically see movies that someone I trust has recommended, so I'm not going to be like, oh, Matt said I should watch this, but let me double check if I respect his opinion or not. Guess I don't. On the other hand, like I like the art form of movie trailers, and like some of them are really cool. And like after seeing a movie, like, oh wow, this is a really cool trailer. But I definitely avoid using them for their intended purpose. And I guess I haven't been to a movie in such a long time that like I never see the previews before the movie either. So like so I would basically have to seek out this thing and then be spoiled for a movie that I might want to watch.
I agree with everything you just said, and I identify with everything, including I don't remember the last time I was at a movie theater. It's been a couple of years. Yeah, I also purposely do not see trailers, and I'm glad you call movie trailers an art form. I don't see them, but they really are an art form. Like they can make any movie seem great and suspenseful and funny because it's packing in all the funny moments into a trailer. They really are an art form. And I wonder if it's like just like a couple studios just cranking out trailers constantly, like they have this formula. They know what people want to see, so Hollywood gives them all their business, and they just continue to crank these things out. They just know the right buttons to push. But movie trailers are very impressive, and a lot of them do a good job summing up a story all in a minute and a half or whatever a trailer is. Some of them give away too much from what I've seen and from what I've heard. But yeah, I agree with everything you said.
They can also lie to you, man. They can I think someone's suing because a trailer like made a movie out to be something and it wasn't at all. It was like a drama. They thought it looked like a romantic comedy or something like that. But also the power of trailers, like they lie. They have to make it look cooler than it is. So in the case of Suicide Squad, you guys remember that? Where like the trailer came out and it was bright and poppy and they had a pop song on it. And the studios were like, that looks way cooler than what we actually have. Go back, reshoot everything, make it look like that trailer. So like trailers, yeah, I mean, there's some this is an indifference you said. So you're like, it could be good, it could be bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's and
like even what trailers that don't have a spoiler in it per se, like just the way my brain works, I'll watch the movie and like tick off like, okay, that scene, waiting for the next scene. Okay. All right, there's just one more scene that we haven't gotten to yet. And I hate it.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of hate though, I think the trailers stopped. Hopefully they did, but they would do the bass drop, the boom.
Oh yeah.
I hated that. At first it was cool, but then pretty soon I was like, this is
Overused.
so overused. Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. Anyone have a favorite trailer out there or one that popped in your mind? I'll go with The Social Network. I thought that was very well done with the cover of Creep by that chorus.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
that was really good.
I honestly have nothing coming to mind. I saw a bunch of trailers as a kid, so I'm going back to that sort of stuff. But just in recent years, oh, okay. So I saw No Country for Old Men in a theater once upon that would have been 2007, and then they had a trailer for There Will Be Blood, and that trailer really struck me. It had that Greenwood score going on, that kind of creepy crawly thing going on, and just Daniel Day-Lewis doing his psychotic cackling and shit. I mean, that one got me. I was like, I got to see that. That was a good one.
Have you ever seen like those fake movie trailers where they like recut a movie as like a different genre or something?
Yes.
So like the one where it's like The Shining as like a family comedy called Shining.
Good pull. I totally forgot that was a thing. Now I'm gonna have to look some up. Nice.
That's great. Yeah, it's they could. I've seen now. I'm trying to think of like terrible trailers that I've seen, but I guess it would just have to be like, oh, they gave too much away or something. But yeah, I'm very much of that mind, John, where it's like I have a pretty good fucking memory. If I see this trailer and I'll like red shirt, Ryan Reynolds wears a red shirt and does this. You know what I mean? I'll be kind of
And a
it'll
Ronald
be in my
Reagan
mind.
mask.
Yeah.
Or like you said, lying to you. I guess this isn't technically lying to you, but like when it's a bad comedy and all of the funny lines are in the trailer.
Or I can't recall a specific example, but sometimes there'll be a trailer that has some funny stuff in it, and then the movie never has those scenes in it. That's kind of the whole line thing, I guess.
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
The Rogue One, it wasn't jokes. There was nothing fucking funny in that movie, but they had these awesome action sequences and shots that were never in the fucking movie. They filmed it just for the trailer, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah.
Ain't right.
Yeah, that tain't right. Uh-huh.
I do. Okay, so I remember seeing the trailer for Batman '89 or whatever year that was. And again, I'm a kid, and I remember I'm like, I thought I saw like someone on a spaceship and saying like, "What? It can't be." And I remember watching the movie. I'm like, "Hey, what happened to that scene with the spaceship? And what happened to Elf? And what happened to?" I'm just so upset as a child. But yeah, I remember I never saw that clip in that movie, and I remember going back over the years and rewatching that trailer. I'm like, this could have been the one I saw. No guy in a spaceship saying, "What? It can't be." Yeah.
Maybe it was the bat plane that your 5-year-old brain thought was a spaceship. I don't know.
Man. Semi-related, the box art for Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System on the back of the box has a screenshot of a level that does not exist in the game.
Oh.
And I spent my entire childhood trying to find that hidden level.
That's funny though, because there are hidden levels in that game.
Yeah.
I thought so, but just not that one.
Right.
Oh.
False advertising. I hate false advertising. That's next week.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Now let's talk about contour makeup while we're talking about false advertising. All right, moving on. I have I have something here. An indifference fantasy football leagues. So I was in one year. I don't know. That's where you guys know what it is, right? Where you're like, oh, and
I'm
then
familiar with the
I
topic.
want Brett Favre, and then I want this guy, and then you're just like, this is weird. But you can't control what they do. They're gonna score or they're not going to. A bunch of my friends were like, Vince, you gotta do it, man. And I'm like, I guess I'm not that into football. I mean, I watch it with you guys and stuff, and we'll go drink at the bars and watch games. But for the most part, I don't care. It's just hanging out with you guys. But they're like, okay, well, it's hanging out, but we're watching. We're talking about football. So I'm like, okay, fine. But I'm gonna be like that show, The League. I'm Taco. I don't care. I really don't care. And they're like, okay, whatever, because they needed an eighth or whatever the fuck. So the whole time, I'm like, my name was even Cocaine Toilet Seat from The League. I was all, yeah. And the whole time, Matt would show up and like, hey man, why don't we switch because of this or that? And then Dave would be like, dude, he's trying to fuck you over. Don't do it. I'm like, I don't care. I gave Matt the guy. I don't care, And it was stressful though, because we're sitting there watching a game that we're enjoying, yet someone's like, fuck, I didn't want this guy to score. Now I'm behind Eric and shit like that. And I'm like, what? And then finally, the season ended because we all had to pay money to get into it. That was lame. But I ended up getting third by not doing a damn thing. And that was the entry money. So it's like it never fucking happened. So, yeah. What do you guys say about the leagues?
I'm more like the Rafi, where I've never been in a league, but I have shown up to the draft nights a few nights for like my coworkers who were doing it. So I just literally didn't pay attention to any of that stuff and just irritated and what do you call it? Like basically made them lose their concentration when they're trying to do like the draft picks and stuff.
I have a lot of ways to go with this. I don't know where this is going to go, but
how many fantasy leagues are you currently in?
I'm in 4
okay
fantasy leagues right now. 4 money leagues. $100 league, $50 league, $20 league, $10 league. So I'm okay. So I'm sure everybody heard a Buffalo Bills player went into cardiac arrest on the field on Monday Night Football.
Shit,
and the game got suspended. Well, this is the championship week, throwing a gigantic question mark into everything. So I was in the championship game in 2 of those leagues. I was winning, but I was going against Josh Allen, one quarterback in one, and Joe Burrow in the other league, the other quarterback. And they're not scoring points, and now everybody's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?"
But of course, everybody agrees that this man's health is more important than the game, right?
Of course.
Like that's the number one thing everyone agrees on, right?
Let's just stop talking about fantasy football because this man's health is what's important. So let's just end the podcast.
Yeah, let's stop this podcast.
But I don't want to be insensitive there. But so now there's this whole thing, how much is first place going to get, how much is second place going to get, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I enjoy the camaraderie of it. I enjoy, if you're with some friends in a league and you don't see them too often, it's a nice way to kind of stay in touch with people, that kind of thing. I spend too much time on it for, I'm going to end up winning money this year and such, but I how much time did I spend, going through hot waiver pickups and trying to convince so-and-so to trade me so-and-so and all this sort of thing. And how much time did I spend preparing for the draft? It might be embarrassing to say how many hours. No, it probably wasn't too bad. Like there's been worse years, but and even though I am winning money this year, I am still kind of indifferent because you get to a certain point in the season where it's kind of exhausting, where you've kind of run out of steam, even though you're going to the playoffs. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to look at waivers this week. I just don't want to have to deal with that. So I'm going to continue to play. I don't know if other people, even if you're a hardcore fantasy footballer, do people run into walls out there? I would love to hear other people that are running into this wall that I am, but I understand fantasy football. It's a big evolution for the NFL. It's going to make them billions of more dollars over the long term. Congratulations, NFL. But yeah, even though I'm apparently kind of good at it, I'm kind of indifferent to it as well. But another point, there is so much luck involved. There is so much luck involved, especially when it comes to injuries. Like it is truly like a war of attrition. This player goes down in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, nothing else mattered. So that part sucks. That part totally sucks. But I don't know. Somebody else talk.
I have another deja vu. Back when I was talking about NFL or sports or something like that, I was like, I basically said women don't watch football, and I take that back. I know plenty of women who are way into it than I am. They'd probably be like, "What up, bro?" Shove me and shit, because I'm not into it enough or something like that. Yeah.
Spit in your face like a camel.
But I loved her humps, her lovely lady humps.
To quote the Black Eyed Peas.
Well, that seems like a good time to leave. Do we have a future to look forward to?
Not likely.
I never think of any of these futures, so I hate this segment. That's my topic for next week. I hate that topic.
All right. I'm not gonna push it.
No, do you have something, Vince?
No, I don't.
All right.
I mean, if I do, then I would have to commit to this certain hate, or and that wasn't so fun. That's what I realized. Even though I love Frank Frazetta, I'm glad I brought him up, but like, I'm glad I didn't pick something else, because like sometimes I'll regret that, where I'm like, okay, my love on Saturday is this, or my hate on Saturday is this, but then the hatred dies out by the time I get to Tuesday.
Does your hatred really die out? Are you actually experiencing this? Because I'm not experiencing this. Like, I have hates and loves, and they're hates and loves. And I mean, there's nothing burning. There's nothing, like, again, like going back to episode 1, there's nothing that not nothing, but there's very few things that I truly hate or truly love. So I feel like I can talk about these things without a bunch of emotions being involved, but
that's fun for me. I mean, talking about Elf, that really was good. I'm like, I remember that shit, and I haven't talked about it since I was 6, basically, so yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
That's a good one. We're all still waiting for the white privilege, Vince.
Hey, listen, you guys are right. White privilege isn't going anywhere. I should just wait till it becomes an indifference and then eventual love. How about that?
So it's really just a matter of like, in which context is the white privilege most hateful at this moment?
And by the way, it's in the UFC specifically. You guys keep on saying, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like, yeah, I was in the UFC that time, but there'll be a different place where it shines through in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we first brought this up so long ago, nobody remembers that it's in the UFC. So we just keep bringing up the white privilege. So at some point, we're going to have to address this.
I want to prolong this more, because Matt, out of all the people, you're like, people think I'm, I got the bald head. People assume things about me. All right,
I'm done talking about the white privilege. No more.
Yeah. All right.
Feel free.
Let's close shop, gentlemen. We have no future. Apparently, it's dead. The future's dead.
Our future is dead, if you really think about it.
All right.
I hate global warming, guys.
Like, subscribe, comment. This was A Few Goldilock Bears with Vincent Cloud,
John Nemitz,
and Matt Hagan.